Good morning and welcome to Sports Central. An exciting week, fresh stories, perspectives to look at in the world of sports. Lots of action scattered around from the world of tennis. The Wimbledon kickstart in a few days, and we also have making as the man Ilya Tupuria knocked out Charles Oliveira in less than a minute on his UFC lightweight title debut. Also, other stories in the world of football we have Club World Cup taking center stage, clubs making progression to the next round. Talking about Bayern Munich, talking about Paris Saint-Germain. These and many more would form the crux of our conversation today. We'll take a quick break, and when we're back, Sport Wrap Up will be ready for you. Sprinter Favor of Philly put the recent report surrounding her purported switch to Turkey behind her as she powered to victory in the finals of the women's 100 meters event at the ATX Sprint Classic in Texas. The 22-year-old, who has been the subject of debate over plans to switch allegiance to Turkey over the past week, first ran a blistering race to win her heat in a time of 10.87 seconds, which was a new personal best after shattering her previous lifetime mark of 10.94 seconds to reach the final ahead of American Kayla White, who ran a time of 11.07 seconds. When the final commenced, Ophelia was head over shoulders above the rest of the field as she placed first in a time of 10.78 seconds, which was also another personal best. Olympic champion Gabby Thomas had to settle for a runner-up spot in a time of 10.95 seconds, while rising star Kayla White was third in a time of 10.97 seconds. To the world of basketball, where legend LeBron James is set to play in a record 23rd NBA season after his agent said the 40-year-old has exercised an option to extend his contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. Well, his agent said James, the NBA's all-time leading scorer, was targeting a fifth championship after activating a $53 million player option for the 2025-2026 season. James currently shares the NBA season record with eight-time All-Star Vince Carter. His tally of 1,562 regular season appearances is just 50 short of breaking former Boston Celtics star Robert Parrish's NBA record. James' NBA career began in 2003, where he was drafted first overall by hometown town, the Cleveland Cavaliers, before joining the Miami Heat in 2010, winning two titles before returning to lead Cleveland to their only NBA title with a 2016 success. He has been with Lakers since 2018 and helped them win the 2020 title, which was also the fourth time James was named NBA Finals Most Valuable Player. Now to the spit lanes of Formula One, where Lando Norris fought off a race-long challenge from McLaren's teammate Oscar Piastri to win the Austrian Grand Prix. Norris' third victory of the year, leading home a McLaren 1-2, reduced his deficit in the championship to the Australian to 15 points heading into the British Grand Prix next weekend. The McLarens utterly dominated the race. Ferrari's Charles Leclerc took the final podium place 17 seconds behind, with teammate Lewis Hamilton fourth, a further nine behind. Mercedes' George Russell was fifth, while Red Bull's Max Verstappen was taken out by the other Mercedes driver, Kimi Antonelli, on the first lap and is 61 points off the championship lead. To the world of boxing, where former heavyweight world champion Deontay Wilder returned to winning ways with a low-key comeback victory, stopping the overmatched Darrell Hendon in the seventh round in Kansas. Wilder dropped his fellow American in the second round, scored another knockdown in the sixth, and closed the show with two chopping right hands a round later, prompting the referee to wave it off. After a torrid few years, three defeats in his previous four bouts, most recently a punishing loss to Zili Zhang in Saudi Arabia, Wilder has registered his first win since October 2022. But while it was a dominant performance, it was far from vintage bronze bomber. Well, to the world of football, where Chelsea have agreed a deal worth up to 60 million euros for Brighton's forward Joao Pedro. The 23-year-old has agreed terms with Chelsea on a 7-year deal and will fly from Brazil to the United States to have a medical and join Enzo Maresca's side at the Club World Cup. Pedro will be able to play for Chelsea at the tournament as clubs are allowed to register players between June 27 and July the 3rd. It means the Brazil international could make his Chelsea debut in the Club World Cup quarterfinals, with Pedro potentially available to face Palmeiras on Friday in Philadelphia, with kickoff time at 2 a.m. UK time in the early hours of Saturday. The move for Pedro comes with Chelsea having good relations with Brighton, who have a sell-on clause in the deal. The Blues view Pedro as a versatile forward who can play as a number 9 and across the front line. Well, these are the top stories we have for you on Sport Wrap Up today, but that's not the end, as we'll have the guys join us in a very exciting conversations after this short break. Stick around.
Broadening your horizon is what every living being not only genuinely desires, but heartily pursues and intentionally invests in. For in the gathering of men, only those whose minds are in tune with the dynamics of the past, present, and future innovations, inventions, politics, and governments are respected. We are Spectrum Television, and broadening your horizon is our obsession. Rescan your decoder now to connect Spectrum Television on the frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. That is frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250, polarization horizontal, and join our online community at spectrumtvlive.ng. For further inquiries, please call 0704 158 5642 or 0704 541 7707. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
The depth of knowledge, fun, and entertainment you experience on Spectrum Television can never be overstated, especially when you get them all at once. At Spectrum Television, we start your day with insightful political and social discussion, a spotlight on Africa and the world's view. On well-being, we prioritize your health and mental space, staying fit and achieving goals. Stay updated with the business world, financial markets, and global economic analysis. We bring you all the latest from the world of sports and cutting-edge innovations, looking at the future of tech on Tech Insight. And stay updated with the latest in entertainment and music on Entertainment Now. Cause you see people don't really know you. Our carefully crafted content is designed to broaden your horizons and keep you informed and entertained. You won't want to miss a minute. Killer, shower you with all my attention. Yeah, these are my only intentions. Watch Spectrum Television live on free to air. Scan your decoder to continue receiving the best of our signals or stream live at www.spectrumtvlive.ng. For more inquiries, call 0704 158 5642. Don't let this love hold you down. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to another exciting time to talk about the best of stories in the world of sports. It is Sports Central, and my name is Vlad Rukem. Exciting times ahead. As you can see, the guys are seated at the table of greatness, ready for the talking point. I'm at a club World Cup that's taking place and big preparation. I'm looking forward to Wimbledon. There have been also wedding bells that we hear when it has to do with some top players in that regard. We'll get to mention them in the course of the show. Kati Bolter, in fact, being involved and an Australia, and it would be part of what we'll talk about one way or the other. It's always a beautiful thing to have these athletes feature, not just in sports, but a feature to make families. It would be something we'll talk about. Formula One also took center stage as we saw the man Norris taking center stage and battling it out with a Piastri in that regard. At the end of it, after clashing at Canada, well, this one at Astra, they have to come and have victory. Talking about the McLaren side, it will be definitely exciting talking points ahead. Well, football stories won't be left out in the course of it. Richard Davin Fanitina, good morning. So good to see you today. What's up?
Well, fresh off from the weekend filled with numerous actions, especially the FIFA Club World Cup. Now we're talking about some teams who progressed to the last to the quarterfinal rather from the last 16. The boys gradually being separated for the men, and it looks quite promising ahead of the quarterfinals.
Yeah, quite promising ahead of the quarterfinals for Fanitina. Good morning. Oh, good morning. Very exciting week to be back on the show. Talking about combat sports, we had Ilya Tupuria, the man who sees something and does it. He said he was going to knock Charles Oliveira out in the first round, and he did it over the weekend. It was so exciting to see, and also sad for lovers of these legends in the sport, because knocking out a legend in the first round, trust me, it's not something you see quite often.
And that's something you see quite often, definitely to talk about. Well, before we get to talk about boxing and the rest of them, the combat sports, let's go to the world of tennis. It's getting even so exciting. Everyone is talking about Wimbledon and opportunities that could come with it. Well, now we hear that Iga Swiatek is back into the top four, joined a crack top 50 race. Many superstars also are building that momentum towards Wimbledon. But one conversation to look at while we're talking about a ranking point, look at this year. Iga Swiatek Fontina has not won a title yet.
Yeah.
The same with Arena Sabalenka. They've won nothing yet. A big superstars in that regard. And you look about history of Wimbledon, the last 6 years. Iga Swiatek, Arena Sabalenka, they've not won at Wimbledon. So it's going to be quite concerning. But good to see that the Polish international is back in the top four.
Well, definitely, I think good to see Iga Swiatek back in the top four, just like you've mentioned. She's had a turbulent season, topsy-turvy season, you might want to call it, since she was relieved of her spot as the world number one because of due to technical reasons, but she's not been able to get back to that top spot again. Arena Sabalenka has been dominated and all of that, and this season has even been more, difficult for her. So it's great to see her back in the top four. It shows that she's been doing something remarkably well, because you cannot just go up the rankings without doing anything good. So I think Iga Swiatek is finally getting back to the Iga Swiatek we used to know. Recently at the Bad Homburg Open, we saw her reaching the final. So good for her. Maybe that is one of the reasons why she's back. Let's see what she can do with the Wimbledon.
Well, to be diving funny thing I say is Iga Swiatek that we used to know, but it seemed different from the Iga Swiatek that we used to know. Because Iga Swiatek gets to the final, she wins it, and no one stops her. But the grass court, grass season always difficult for Iga Swiatek. Well, let's look at the ranking point. Number one is Arena Sabalenka, 11,640 ranking point. And we're talking about Kirkegaard, the US international, at number two at 7,899. Jessica Pegula, another US tennis player, at number three, 6,483 ranking point. And Iga Swiatek at number four, Jasmine Paulini at number five, Zheng Wang from China, number six. She's actually dropped a point, they stepped downward, talking about Zheng Wang. Amira Andreeva, a youngster. And now all of these ranking point and all of these superstars looking forward to Wimbledon. Who gets to notch it? Because Arena Sabalenka has not won it. Iga Swiatek has not won it. The last two times we had the likes of Kreshikova, Barbara Kreshikova winning it, defending champion. And who else there is that conversation? No Iga Swiatek, no Arena Sabalenka.
Well, it looks quite difficult to, certainly pinpoint who's winning the grass court competition, because we've not even started. Today will definitely be around one of those games, or we'll have some of those top names being part of it as well. But I think it feels quite odd when you mention Iga Swiatek being a number tier rankings.
Yeah.
I mean, the last 2 years we have not had any issues like that. Iga Swiatek dropping below the top two.
What's surprising, not winning a trophy yet. Into the middle of the year.
Absolutely, up until now. We're talking about, I think, about 2 Grand Slams already being played this year, and none of those top players, the likes of Zabalenka and Swiatek, has won either of them. So I do not know what guess will happen right here. Just like you've made mention of Iga Swiatek, struggling during grass court event.
Yeah.
There could also be a similar case for her here. But I think I'm actually, of course, following trends now, looking at what has happened, since the start of the year up until now. The last 2 Grand Slams have been won by not so, mentioned, players heading into the tournament. I mean, if you want to look at the Aussie Open, not many saw Madison Keys, winning it. Same could also be said in French. And now we're talking about the Wimbledon Open. Maybe we should be talking about Coco Gauff, Swiatek, and the rest of other players. But shockingly enough, players who you did not even see making it to the semi-finals can even go to the finals and win it. So that's why it feels so difficult now to take a look at Swiatek and say maybe she would actually resuscitate her career at the grass court event. Neither of Zabalenka as well. But I feel all of these players are going into the competition looking quite prepared and serious for the tournament. Recall before the build-up to the Wimbledon, we're talking about the likes of Zabalenka training with Yannick Sinner. So it shows good intentions about them, looking forward to this title. But I think at the moment, it's basically about what we'll see in the early stages, round one, round two. And we'll definitely talk about what to expect before the end of the tournament. That's why I can't pick anybody at the moment. But I think all of them are in for it.
All of them are in for it. Twitter talks about it. Are we back to that circuit, open-ended circuit in the women's tennis game, where you can't really say who a dominant force could be when Kati Bata got retired from international from tennis rather. When that sport until we saw Igafiante become a dominant force in the world of tennis, but we're back at it. Assembling to have a 10th title of the season. So funny thing, back to the conversation now. If you had to get into the final of it, not being able to win it, Jessica Pegula, host now in the top round. Jessica Pegula, now you talk about the position of her. Jessica Pegula, world number 3, got a better Viga Fiantic. So now, battle of between 3 and 4 it was. And Jessica Pegula came out top now. A tech title for her, no one for Iga Fiantic, no one for Arena Sabalenka. Coco Graf, 2 titles this season. So it's shifting grounds when it has to do with women's game.
Well, I think for Jessica Pegula, world number 3 now, 3 titles. So maybe it's just a numerical terms now.
Coco Graf, world number 2, 2 titles.
So you can see how it works now. But I think on the more serious note now, Jessica Pegula has proven that she is in for some serious business, especially this season. We've seen her play very nice tennis games and all of that. So against Igis Frantic, it was always going to be a tough game for Igis Frantic, especially knowing that she's not really good when it comes to the grass court. In fact, I was even surprised to see her go as far as the finals in the Baden-Württemberg Open because the grass court is not her thing. She's always known to struggle with the grass court swing, and competitions in the grass court always ends in maybe semi-finals, quarterfinals for her in back, when you go back in the days. Yeah. But currently, she's trying to use the grass court to see how she can regain her composure and all of that. So I think it's something new, and I'm really excited to see what happens in Wimbledon.
Not to interrupt your thought in that direction, many are arguing that for Iga Swiatek, she's trying to make an adjustment to be better at the grass court, and now with the new coach she got, and now she's sacrificing other court that she was good, hard court, and then and clay court.
Well, I don't think so. I just feel it's a woman who saw that she started the year badly, with the clear cut and all of that. So now she doesn't have any choice. She's condemned to do well, in the grass court swing now. So she has to take this Wimbledon very, very seriously if she wants to regain her, place as world number 1 or world number 2.
Well, it's always going to be that conversation. Let's switch gear and talk about Formula One then. As getting even heightened. At the Formula One, it was the Austrian Grand Prix, and Lando Norris are coming out top. I think it's his first appearance on the podium as number 1 this season, is it?
But no, I don't think so.
Not necessarily, yeah. Not necessarily.
He's been dominating.
Yeah, it's been quiet, but 15 points behind Piastri, yeah. So it's all about McLaren showing class in this one. But it has to be the other conversation. I want to talk about Ferrari now. Both of them finished 3rd and 4th, and Lewis Hamilton at the other end is absolutely complaining about the car, and the mechanics not doing quite right. But the good thing in all of this for McLaren, it could be that season for them because Max Verstappen also are quite struggling and not doing quite well. Well, when you see the action in the world of racing, it takes center stage and it gets to come with different shots. But we'll go on a quick break, and when we're back, the conversation continues even further, and we'll look at where McLaren will be going to with this one, the likes of Oscar Piastri also moving forward, and Lando Norris in it. We'll go on that break, and when we're back, the conversation continues. Don't go anywhere. Broadening your horizon is what every living being not only genuinely desires, but heartily pursues and intentionally invests in. For in the gathering of men, only those whose minds are in tune with the dynamics of the past, present, and future innovations, inventions, politics, and governance are respected. They are Spectrum Television, and broadening your horizon is our obsession. Risk on your decoder now to connect Spectrum Television on the frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. That is frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. Polarization horizontal, and join our online community at spectrumtvlive.ng. For further inquiries, please call 0704 158 5642 or 0704 541 7707. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Get ready for the exciting showdown, the biggest names, the toughest competition, and the most thrilling moments. From the gridiron to hardwood, and from the pitch to the track. Join us for Sports Central, the most electrifying sports program on television, every weekday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon on Spectrum Television. Sports Central, your home for sports.
And welcome back. It's Sports Central. And my name is Vladimir Kim. We're back as if we never left, looking at all the loose ends when it has to do with sporting activities around the world. Before the break, and we're talking about Lando Norris taking it up at the Austrian Grand Prix, showing class and dominance alongside Oscar Piastri. One funny thing, I just have a bite in this one now. We're cruising into the tail of it, and we're looking at a possibility of it changing hands now. It seemed like Max Verstappen and Red Bull, they're in for it in this particular season.
Well, definitely. When we look at the constructors championship now, I think McLaren are way behind because Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri have been very dominant this season. If Oscar Piastri is not number one, we're having Lando Norris there. So Max Verstappen.
That we're ahead.
Definitely. Max Verstappen finished, I think, a distant seventh in this particular race.
He clashed in the first lap.
Exactly. So you can see that this season we're going to be in for lots of competition. I really like it because last season was almost like a monopoly for McLaren and
last few seasons,
for Max Verstappen. So I'm really happy to see something like this. Let's see new superstars and all of that. But I was more happy when I saw Lewis Hamilton finishing fourth, just one shy of a podium finish. I cannot wait to see the man, get a podium finish. Maybe in the next Grand Prix. Remember, it's going to be the British Grand Prix, and that's his home. So maybe we get to see him have a podium finish at his.
Any podium finish this year? Terrible situation.
Even last year, did he have any? I think about 2 or thereabout. Oh, not.
Well, quite a crisis for them and Lewis Hamilton. One regarded as the best racer when it has to do with the championship. He's won 7 championships for himself, talking about Lewis Hamilton, but it's not really adding up for him, especially as they're changing gear and moving from Mercedes to this particular franchise, Ferrari, but it's not really worked out for him. And let's quickly talk about a man that's many were thinking he's retired, but he's come back strongly. We're talking about former heavyweight world champion Deontay Wilder, returning to winning ways with a low-key comeback victory, stopping overmatch Tyrell Hatton in the 7th round in Kansas. Well, David, let's talk about it. When he was beaten by the Chinese international
Zhang.
Zhang. Everyone thought it was done and dusted for him. Also for Joseph Parker, didn't really work out for him. And he's gone to the wilderness, but the man seemed to be back. He seemed to be in the same position like Anthony Joshua now. I'm not waiting when Anthony Joshua gets to return. Oh, Anthony Joshua is better, everything I said. But it's that conversation for Deontay Wilder, the Bronze Bomber.
I think, first of all, he should be quite excited that he's able to get victory since 2022. He was beaten by Zhang. I think that's the only inspiration. Because I was looking at the
what kept him that out?
I do not know, but we've actually seen the man go out for 1 year, then return back. I mean, before that game against Zhang, he stayed out for I think 1 year before returning back to the ring to face Zhang. So it certainly shows you that at some point, if Yus is not even ready to take on bat and then returns back, suddenly get one knockout and then returns back as well. I do not still feel that particular victory summed up anything we're expecting in the future for the man at the moment. Because I look at him at the moment, as you feel he's still rusty. He still doesn't have that that firepower anymore to take on title deciding bout at the moment. So I think going forward now, maybe Deontay Wilder are not facing bout deciding games. Exhibition games will be good for him because he's near to retirement and even competitive
Well,
games.
I want you to ask me about this particular bout. The bout was not televised on any,
It wasn't even hype.
so you can
No one
understand.
heard
It was
about
a
it.
low key match. I think about no, I don't think there were up to 2,000 people at that particular ground. So you can understand why the man was just looking forward to seeing how we can just get back in the win column to get some confidence. And I understand for Deontay Wilder, 39 years of age, maybe the sport has left him, man.
Oh, well, Valentina saying maybe the sport has left the man. Twitter is saying the man should begin to think about retirement, but somewhat, somehow, he can take it away from the man. He's gotten that victory. A low key victory, but a victory is a victory. It's in the record books. Well, at the MMA, before you go to talk about football stories, it would be Tupiria having a KO against Charles Oliveira for vacant title of UFC 317. Unfortunately, you've been following UFC in recent times. What happened in this one?
Well, Charles Oliveira, let's just put it into perspective now. The man has the most finishes and the most submissions in the UFC's history. And then he gets killed by Ilia Topuria. So it shows you that there's something here. Ilia Topuria is just a young star out of Spain who loves Real Madrid so much but finds himself in the UFC. So at this point, I think he's just a stop legend. You have to beat a legend to become a legend. That's what Topuria is doing.
And that's what superior it is. But the picture you're saying is that of Bright Osai Samuel. And the problem with Bright Osai Samuel, he fights too much,
Exactly.
even in football games. And now he had to appear in the MMA picture. Oh, well, it's what we get when Swift gives you swiftly. It's basically what it is. But we'll go on a quick break, and when we're back, it's going to be football stories all around the world. Talking about football, the World Cup and the rest of them, and the excitement that comes with it. on the world of football. And football, here we go. First, let's talk about the Federation's Cup, and it's got quite exciting. The likes of Kwara United getting victory against Abakaliki United, and from the women's point of view, we had Rivers Angel also reigning supreme in Lagos. Well, to dive in funny thing, I know Fun didn't want Abakaliki to win in this one, but somewhat somehow, a big superstars, Kwara United winning, good representation for Nigeria because the consequence is going for the Confederations Cup and Rivers
Well,
Angels.
it just paint a picture of Abakaliki EFC struggle so far this season, despite the fact that I think many were actually blown away from the fact that they had the backs of MPFL side in the build up to the final, one of them being Aimba International. But I think their struggles being demoted to the 30 of Nigerian football, I saw signals what we saw against Kwara United. A good start by MPFL side, Kwara United. And as for Rivers Angels, defending the title they won last year, sums up the quality of Rivers Angels this season. Some points me and the fun were in the show on Saturday when Nassau Amazon scored two early goals. We thought it's all over. Rivers Angels had to peg back and, of course, make it 2-2, went straight to penalties, and they were eventual champions. It shows the quality of both winners over the weekend.
Well, for Kora United, I would say well deserving, but also Abakaliki FC. I think they gave Kora United a run for their money because I was just talking about with UT on the show today earlier on. We said, how come this team know how to play in PFL team, but they could not survive in the end? No, they didn't lose to Kora United in regulation time.
Yeah.
It was a draw.
Went to penalties.
They faced five MPFL teams this season in the FA Cup, and I've not lost to them in regulation time, but they lost to NNL teams. I think there's something that we really need to find out for Abakaliki FC. How is it possible that way?
Well, sometimes the cup games are the cup games, are the league games are the league games, and some teams are specialists in the cup game. It's basically what it is. And now let's talk about the conversation around the world of football. And what better fact that the last preparatory game, the Falcons and looking forward to the WAFCON took place over the weekend, and it was the Falcons aging the Black Queens in this regard, beating Ghana side in the WAFCON warm-up. Ended 3-1. First 55 minutes, the Super Falcons they scored 3 goals. Asisa Oshola scoring from the penalty spot. The captain of the side, Rashida Ajibade, also scoring. And it's that conversation of Herschel scoring for the opener for them. But somewhat somehow, to I would rather stick with you for the team on this one. Somewhat somehow, one would say good preparation for them because prior to this particular match, Ghana took on the likes of Malawi and the rest of them, and were having wins. And when they met the Super Falcons of Nigeria, who pulled a draw against Portugal, the Super Falcons tough side for Ghana.
Well, definitely, I would say it shows that the Super Falcons rather are always going to be a top team in Africa, no matter what. I remember when we were talking about the Portugal game, I said it's different when you play on the continent, then you go to play European counterparts. Definitely, the Falcons are still the team to beat. Everyone is always going to respect them when you play against the Super Falcons of Nigeria, which showed yesterday. Had to score 3 early goals to edge the Ghanaian counterpart in that particular game. For Asisa Oshoala, I was still not impressed with her scoring a penalty. I just feel like we can do better than Asisa Oshoala on the pitch of play. We have better players than Asisa Oshoala. Rashida Ajibade is slowly becoming one of the most important players for the Super Falcons of Nigeria, always scoring. Anytime the Super Falcons score a goal, Rashida Ajibade is always going to be on the score sheet, either a goal or an assist. And I think she embodies whatever we need as a leader in the Super Falcons of Nigeria.
Well, Rashida Ajibade, the young side in that regard of being the captain on the side, yes, still quite young, a reasonably decent footballer, but Asisa Oshoala, Anom Fun has been talking about Asisa Oshoala, but take it or leave it, she scored, and she's the biggest name on that list. Quickly, let's talk about a Nigerian international Batusai Samuel, who was hoping to switch gear, moving from Fenerbahce to Besiktas, but we hear that move has been stalled. We'll give a follow-up to it in the coming days. And quickly, we talk about a Club World Cup games that took place yesterday. It was Chelsea Football Club lasting Benfica, based on the difficulty that came with the game and what a delay to reach the Club World Cup quarterfinals in that regard. I hear they'll be facing Palmeiras, who also got a victory against that opponent in the quarterfinals in extra time. Well, one conversation around all of this, because Chelsea were leading the wings for that break at about 83 minutes, thereabout, 86 minutes, thereabout, and return plus extra time. And Benfica had to score. And was Angel Di Maria knitting it. And the last game for Angel Di Maria, it is what it has to do with European football. His return to Rosales in that regard, back to the Lake Argentine League. But somehow, there's been a problem in this Club World Cup with David.
I think it's due to the weather situation in the United States of America. We can't rule that out at the moment. Maybe the organizers, didn't look at that perspective before, fixing the tournament there. And at this time, also here the FIFA Club World Cup is also more like a test run ahead of the FIFA, World Cup we're expecting, this time. But a good win for Enzo Maresca and the boys to Chelsea at the moment. Some Chelsea fans are still clamoring why. Of course, a certain Gusto will be starting games. Maybe Maresca knows what they do not know. But
Well,
at the end,
Gusto came in that game
yeah, he came
against
into the game
Arsenal.
at some point, but in the end, Chelsea got this particular victory, and I think it's good for them. Now to the quarterfinals, may just likely see Chelsea, moving to the semi-finals if they get the better of Palmeiras in the quarterfinal game.
If they get the better of Palmeiras in the quarterfinals game, well, Paris Saint-Germain humiliated Inter Miami, scoring 4 past them. Lionel Messi watching proceedings, wishing it was a good old days, but it never happened. Somehow, age always catch up with you. You can't rule away age. He tried to do the magic in the second half, but it didn't matter. Paris Saint-Germain, European champions, were so strong, beating them 4-0. Harry Kane also scoring twice as Bayern Munich reached quarter-finals of the Club World Cup. It's always going to be that case against Flamengo. Jorginho Filafela couldn't change the narrative enough for them. Meanwhile, in the world of transfers, it is Chelsea agreeing £60 million deal for Joao Pedro, the Brazilian. We hear he's flying in from Brazil for medicals and could feature for Chelsea in the next game against Palmeiras. Similarly, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has confirmed Everton's exit. Arsenal are entering the race to sign Kitike in that direction. And Borussia Dortmund and Leverkusen are looking forward to McCarthy. And Thomas Partey will leave Arsenal when his contract expires. Guys, I don't know which one you can pick in this one. Maybe Thomas Partey, anyone that suits him for it.
I'm going for Joao Pedro moving to Chelsea. I'm just asking questions now. Remember at the time where we were talking about Chelsea having too many players, and now they're slowly, gradually getting back to that stage again. I thought they were relieving some players because of these particular stories. So now getting Joao Pedro. How many number 9s? We're talking about Nicholas Jackson, talking about Liam Delap, who just brought, talking about Joao Felix returning from AC Milan, talking about the man who scored yesterday, Christopher Nkunku. And now you have Joao Pedro, 5 number 9s. Maggie also 6.
Maybe they'll get to send some players on loan. It's still open and possible.
Yeah.
Whatever David has to close. Last word from you.
Well, I think what stood out for me over the weekend was Paul Pogba officially being unveiled by Monaco.
Yeah.
Had some tears, dropping scene
After 18 months out of the game.
Absolutely. So the man is back now. We'll see him in the UEFA Champions League next season. Playing for Monaco. Good stuff.
And well, some doubting for Manchester United in the media space, especially social media. They say, look, Paul Pogba left Manchester United and then was suspended 18 months. And guess what happened? After 18 months, Paul Pogba is back to the Champions League. No, Manchester United in the Champions League. A sorry side for a big side over the years, but here we draw the curtain in today's edition. Why not like Manchester United? Well, like those that are in the Club World Cup doing the magic. We draw the curtain here. We'll return tomorrow for further conversation. Whichever David Funny tonight. Thank you very much for being a part of it.
Always a pleasure.
I thought you would talk about Manchester United, but he bounced. Thank you. Bye-bye.